Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into a really critical challenge in modern software architecture, one that a lot of teams are grappling with.
Think about it. As our systems get more and more distributed, with hundreds of different services all doing their own thing, a huge question comes up. Who is actually in charge here? How do we keep things secure and consistent without just grinding everything to a halt?
So, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll really frame the problem. Then, we'll look at a couple of different models for governance and see what the trade-offs are. And finally, we'll talk about how you can start thinking about the right strategy for your team.
Okay, so what's the real dilemma here? Well, it all boils down to that classic tension, doesn't it? The need to move fast versus the need to, well, not break things.
And you've got to wrap your head around this paradox right at the start. While each individual microservice might be small and focused, pretty simple on its own, the system as a whole becomes this incredibly complex web of interactions. And that complexity is exactly where the governance challenge lives. So that brings us to the big question. I mean, if the whole point of microservices is to give teams autonomy so they can move quickly, how on earth do you make sure the entire system stays secure, stable, and, well, sane?
All right, let's start with the most traditional answer to this question. This is the centralized control model.
You see this a lot, especially in bigger companies. The thinking is pretty straightforward. If you want to limit risk and keep things safe, you create a central team, like a security team, to enforce consistency and rules across the board.
So what does that actually look like day to day? Well, just imagine one team. And that one team is responsible for all the security configurations, all the access control, for every single microservice built by every other team in the company.
You can probably see where this is going, right? As the system scales and you add more and more services, that poor central team just gets flooded with requests for changes, for views, approvals, you name it. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. That central team, which was created to ensure safety, accidentally becomes the single biggest bottleneck in the system. It chokes the very speed that microservices were supposed to give you in the first place. So, if centralization can create these massive bottlenecks, what's the alternative? Well, let's see how the decentralized model completely flips this idea on its head.
The big idea here is to push that decision-making power outwards. So instead of having one central gatekeeper, you make each team responsible for its own security and governance. You know that whole philosophy of you build it, you run it? Well, this adds you secure it, too.
But, and this is a big but, there's a critical trade-off. Sure, you get incredible speed, you empower your teams, you get rid of bottlenecks, but it comes at a cost. Now every single team needs to have real security expertise, and you run the risk of getting inconsistent standards all over the place. This is where having the right automation and tooling becomes absolutely essential.
And that brings us to the most important point, really. This isn't about one model being right and the other being wrong. It's a classic balancing act. It's all about finding that sweet spot between moving fast and staying safe for your specific situation.
So, is there a middle path? Yeah, there is. Some organizations are trying what you might call a contextual approach. They basically create these subsystems or contexts where a group of related services can share a common governance team. It's a neat way to find a balance between total centralization and complete chaos. So let's just boil it down. On one side, you've got centralized control. It gives you consistency, it gives you safety, but it really risks slowing you down. On the other side, you've got decentralized autonomy. It gives you amazing speed and empowers your teams, but it requires a much bigger investment in skills and tools to manage the risk.
Okay, so with all that in mind, how in the world do you choose the right path for your organization?
At the end of the day, there is no single correct answer. The choice you make totally depends on what your organization needs to optimize for. Is your number one priority ironclad security and consistency? Or is it all about rapid innovation and getting to market as fast as possible? All right, let's pull all this together. Your approach to governance isn't just some technical detail. It actually shapes your team's culture and your system's ability to grow and adapt. There's no magic formula here, just a series of trade-offs you have to line up with your biggest goals. And that really leaves us with the final, most crucial question for you to think about with your own projects. What is your primary goal? Is it maximum speed, or is it maximum safety? Answering that question is the first and honestly the most important step to designing a governance model that actually works for you. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this useful, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into complex topics just like this one. We'll see you next time.